Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Sam, and in today's video, we are heading out on the Chesapeake Bay to do some commercial oystering. We are going out with our favorite captain, Captain Rachel. Usually you see Captain Rachel and me out when we're doing commercial crabbing for blue crabs. This is our first year out doing oystering as a captain. We're going to talk about the good, the ugly, the bad, and obviously the bad is whenever you talk about the watermen and being commercial, you're always talking about government interference. So, hey, sit back and let's go. Hey guys, guess what? I'm here with Captain Rachel, and we're going to be talking nothing but oystering. So you've been oystering all year now. It's your first year oystering. You've been crabbing, and now you're used to it. So now you went out, and now you're in the cold, you're in the rain. And let me tell you what, so I've been with her twice. The first time, it was raining, sleeting, snowing, 20-mile-an-hour winds, and we're going out. And
the worst of the worst.
And the whole time we're going out, all I keep hearing Rachel goes, "Man, I don't know, Dave. I don't know, Dave." And I just clicked to me. I said, "Man, you're not going out here because I'm on the boat, are you?" And she was really trying to get me out there to oyster. And I'm going like,
Yep.
"You're crazy." I was like, I said, "Don't you put anything." So we ended up driving back. So I'm gonna. So we are. So we went out oystering today with Rachel here.
Yeah, we went.
And as we were getting out there, we had the wind behind us. And as we turned around, we figured there was only, what, 5-foot waves?
Oh my.
That's 5-foot waves. So no oystering today.
I tried.
No oystering today. It's a little too rough out there. I think a lot of guys are coming back in. But we'll go out. We'll try it again next Wednesday. I got three more weeks, and then Sam's out for 3 months. You know what? When we came off, I got a video at the end I'm gonna put on here that I said, now next Wednesday when I come with you, it's gonna be 50 degrees and calm out. And
right?
It was.
Yep, it was.
All right, so Mother Nature told us that we're not going oystering today. Well, we're gonna go out with her next Wednesday, or at least set it up. Yeah. And we're gonna have 50 degrees, flat, calm bay, and then we'll be good. Right? All right, do it next time. That was a long drive back.
Yeah.
That was a long, 5-footers, 3 to 5 footers, you know.
It's a lot easier going out.
So you've been there first year.
Yep.
Okay, it's your first year. So how hard was the learning curve?
Not that bad. Not that bad. Not as far as running the dredge. That wasn't bad. No. Learning little things like how to handle the boat when you're dealing with that much wind and getting the dredge up without taking the husband out. Little learning curve. Or not putting a hole in the side of the boat, pulling that dredge up.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, because that boat leans.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start pulling that dredge up and you see it coming in, and there's a trick to it. So when you drop it down, so first thing she does is, I got a video of her, she actually has a foot control. The foot control raises it and lowers it. But it seems, so you got to turn the boat, when you're bringing it in, you got to turn the boat sideways to.
Right, that way when that dredge is coming up, it's coming up right there by that call table. Now when it's windy out, you can straighten the boat out a little bit, and then that dredge is going to come up behind you, but then you risk putting a hole in the side of the boat.
All right, so one of the big differences me being out on the boat with you when it comes to oystering, and that was, you kind of get a little bit of a break when you're crabbing, so you can actually take a little pee break, or you can actually take a little bit of break, enjoy the nice beautiful sunrise that's coming up.
Yeah.
But once you start oystering,
I don't get pee breaks. I mean, so you got to wear so many layers. You got to wear the oilskins, or you get up, muddy, and it really does block the wind off of you. But I wear 4 layers plus my oilskins because I don't like to be cold. So for me, a pee break would be like 25 minutes or so. So don't drink any coffee. Don't drink anything when you get on the boat. And by the time I'm done, I'm dehydrated and have a headache and really got to pee.
What do you like and what don't you like of being out there?
Well, as odd as it sounds, I do like that it's fast-paced. You look up and you're like, oh, I only got two more left to fill. And there's no bait. I don't have to buy bait. I don't have to bait my lines. I don't have any lines. Just get on the boat, fuel up, and go, and then you're done. That's it. That's what I like about that, and that it's fast-paced, and more or less you kind of know what you're going to make every day. Versus crabbing, you could have a bad day. Wasted money on bait.
Talking all the way, because we got about an hour and a half drive up, hour and a half drive back, and we do a lot of talking. And a lot of talking ends up being, when you're talking about the Chesapeake Bay and you're talking about oysters and crabbing, it's all stinking political.
It is political, yeah.
So you're saying you're worried if we're even going to be able to, you guys are even going to be able to oyster next year.
Yeah, yeah.
And so so what you've told me is that you have offered we got a new governor of Maryland, new Democrat governor of Maryland, and now that could be good or bad, I don't care, but that you have offered him to come to meetings virtually too, right?
Yeah. Yep. And he's actually going, so he did meet with DFA Captain Robert Newberry, and that went very well. But DNR Secretary Josh Kurtz, who's former CBF lobbyist, worked for them for years, is now, as you know, our DNR Secretary. So a lot of us had a great concern about that. For years, he's tried to put us, not him personally, but the organization has frowned upon us, tried to put us out of business every which way possible. And now we're supposed to work with him, depend on him, rely on him, and trust him. We're hoping that we can. I mean, we got to work together, so we will see. But as of this point, if they don't do something quick, we're not going to have any shell. We need shell. What you take out, you have to put back in. Every waterman knows that.
Well, now you explain that. So when you do the oysters, you take it in, and all the shells get sold out, whether it's aquaculture, whether it's to other states. Each committee organization gets their own piece. The watermen, we have to buy the shell back at $8.50 a bushel. And you put it back into the ocean? And we put it right back into our waters. Yep, Nanakoke, Pocomoke, Great Bar, Great Rock, River Bar, all that. So this year, we have the money, we have the funds to buy the shell, but there's no shell because everything we're harvesting gets sold out. So our biggest concern is if the new DNR secretary and if the governor won't allow us to dredge up some of this bottom that they've taken from us, get that shell up, use that shell, the spat's gonna have nothing to stick to. There's guys that wanna put concrete in the river. You can't do that. You don't put concrete and that stuff that you cannot maintain in our river bottoms because, one, it's not going to be maintained, and spat's not going to stick to it. It works in Texas, doesn't mean it's going to work in Maryland. So that's the big issue a lot of the watermen are having right now. You see it everywhere else. The government wants to come in and regulate you to the death to run you out of there because now what they want to do is they want to sell you a part of Chesapeake Bay for tens of thousands of dollars and then regulate you to no end to harvest and make a little farm instead of actually doing it. Because I mean, I would think that if you got an oyster that has generations and generations, probably 100 years of people still out there doing oystering, that they would know what to do to make, because I mean, I'll show you a picture now because this is what oysters do. They actually filter the bay. They actually clean the bay, and the more oysters and stuff that we make healthy and keep, cleans the bay, helps clean the bay. Right. You know, because to me, you know, the climate change is nothing, it's pollution. The pollution in the bay is it's ridiculous, the pollution. Right. If they would spend more time, stop worrying about you guys on some ends and get onto the people that are, I mean, the runoff you can't do anything about, but there's a lot of business out there. I mean, I know Back River, that place out there, man, put some serious pollution in pollution in the water. I grew up around there, and you know, you don't really want to eat too much to coming out of the Back River area. Right. But really, they complain about the whole bay. Yeah, they complain about the whole bay. But I firmly believe that if they let the watermen do what they've been doing for 100 years, nobody wants that bay to produce and thrive more than a waterman. We make our living off of that. What are we going to do if they? I don't know what I'll do if they shut oystering down next year. I don't know what they'll do if they keep up with the bushel restrictions on crabs. I mean, where am I going to make my money from? Are they going to give me a job? No. Yeah. So they need to. They made a promise when they took the sanctuaries and made them sanctuaries that they would revisit those sanctuaries. They weren't going to stay sanctuaries. So now we have these sanctuaries where oysters are sitting, and when an oyster dies, they release all of that right back into the water. No fish live there. Nothing grows there. The oyster certainly won't grow there now, so now we have a bunch of shell. If they would do rotational harvest, you got to work the bottom for the bottom to produce. Right. Because if it's dead. It's dead. It's dead.
Yeah, it's
You know, and then, you know, we can't, when we talk about pollution, we can't not say anything when it comes to Chesapeake Bay to Conowingo Dam.
Right.
The Conowingo Dam, I mean, there's so much, I mean, we get a really bad hurricane through here, any kind of rain. I mean, they open all the gates, and I can show you a picture, and I'll show you a picture now of the chocolate milk that came down here to one year. And that really, that was the year that really screwed up the razor clams for crabbing.
And it hasn't been the same since.
I mean, that killed so many razor clams, and that, I mean, I was paying for a bucket full of razor clams, 20, you sent me to the one gentleman you went to, like $20 for a bucket of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now you're paying, what, $85, $90 you're gonna pay for a bushel?
85 for a bag.
And that's, I tell you what, you know how many crabs you gotta get to get that $85?
Yep.
That's like one bushel maybe, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a lot.
So you gotta catch one bushel just to pay for your bait.
Yeah, at least.
At least.
Yep, and then you got, the fuel. But this year's gonna be interesting. This will be a record-breaking harvest for the oysters. I mean, we're still going strong. 9:30, 10 o'clock, we're getting done. The dredgers are getting done. Patent tongers get done a little bit sooner. So you got the.
Oh, let's go through that real quick. So when you're oystering, there's three kind of oystering, right?
Yeah.
You got you tell them.
Three tools.
Three tools.
You have your dredge. You have your patent tongs, and then you have your hand tongs. So you got 3 different tools you can use.
And each one gets a different area they can go?
Each one gets a different area. Not each one gets different limits. So patent tongers get 12 bushel per license, dredgers get 10, and hand tongers get 12. But yeah, there's certain areas that I can't go where the hand tongers go. Patent tongers and dredgers can hit some bottoms, but there are distinct lines we can't cross. So you do have an option, and each one has its benefits, its pros and its cons.
What she did, she basically put a billy out right where she wants to, and so you probably had what, anywhere between 30 to 40 feet, maybe, thick of oysters that you're just going over top. You know what I mean?
You mean
deep
circumference?
Well, I mean deep wise.
I don't know. Oh, as far as how much line? Yeah, about 30 feet, 35 feet. Yep.
Yeah, so you go about 35 foot deep, and then you're in what, about maybe 100 yards, 100? I mean, because you you pretty much went into a circle, and you stayed in a, so it isn't like you're going in like straight line down the bay, and you're actually in this one little tiny area going in circles, and just pulling them up. And I guess, but once somebody sees that you're there and not leaving, before you know it, there comes other boats. And let me tell you what, I haven't been there. The one guy got pretty close. He got pretty close, and I'm like, but you can't really say anything.
Yeah, it's not like crabbing.
Yeah, you can't really say anything because once, I mean, you've been out there. I've seen you where you've had almost like 20, 30 boats sitting out there in one area.
Yeah, and it's bumper boats.
And I'm talking like close. I mean, you're talking, guys getting ticked off. You get too close, and I mean, you're trying to, not only is she driving a boat, she's got her foot on a pedal trying to lift it up. She's cleaning off oysters, picking oysters. So she's doing a lot and trying to drive the boat, and then she's got to make sure that she's not running into anybody.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad because we only had like 2 boats around us all day.
Yeah, I tried to, with you out there, I tried to keep us away from the chaos. But
I'm not worried about the chaos.
The week before, I was up in the thick of it, and guys were having to throw it in reverse to avoid me, or, your head's up more than it's down. So that's when you're really relying on your caller to pick up the slack, but sometimes you gotta kick her in reverse and dredge backwards. No, I really hope they consider listening to the watermen a little bit more. Do not pollute our waters with concrete. I don't care if it worked in Egypt, Texas. We don't want the concrete. We do not want any type of the concrete unless they're gonna wash it, regulate it, maintain it. Don't want it. We want to use our own shells. This will be a record-breaking year, so we have the money. We have guys that are willing to go out, dredge the shell up, get the shell back to where it can go so the spat has something to stick to. If they don't do that, next year's going to put a lot of guys out of business.